Yeah, good. So this OData, the ways of OData publication from the systems. So this one we have already seen, which will be the client client clients of OData services and social media, mobile devices, browsers, office, whatever, enterprise cloud, whatever. The OData will be the communication, and from this OData publication, it could be a gateway and a web behind it, a web server behind it. So this could be one of the way of developing OData services. So which we are working extensively on this way of OData development. So we are developing OData project in our backend server, and we just um, registering the OData service in SAP Gateway, which is in our case it's embedded scenario, and from there it is communicating with its clients. So we have seen so far two types of clients. One is SAP Gateway client, which REST client, and another one is Postman. So Postman also it's one of the consumers. So if we have readily available applications, and also we have seen this with WebIDE as well. So WebIDE again, it's a service consumption. It's a client in somewhat. And this leg here, SAP HANA Access and SAP HANA. Sorry. So we we can even go ahead and build OData services based on SAP HANA database as well. So like SAP Gateway in our landscape, we have SAP HANA Access Engine to accommodate all these functionalities on top of SAP HANA database. So this one earlier SAP started with the SAP HANA XSC, which is Access Engine Classic, which has a limited functionalities, whereas we had to code a little bit more when we want to influence deep create scenarios. But right now, SAP has come up with SAP HANA XSA, Access Engine Advanced, whereas it is more capable, and this is also the development environment can be used as WebIDE. So WebIDE can be used as a development platform, development IDE for developing these artifacts. Okay, let me allow someone in the lobby. Yep. So this Access Engine Advanced have a lot more capabilities compared to Access Engine Classic. So the OData services, whatever has been built based on using SAP HANA database, and they will have the extension, or they will be called as Access OData. But still, they are OData V2 version. Okay, so the development of this one will not be like what we are doing at the moment, but they are completely different. They will be done on the HANA database straight away. So here we might end up learning about the HANA artifacts like .hdbdd or .hdbcds. They are individual files created like our JavaScript files. .js, we consider it as JS file. But here again, we will have JavaScript as well, server-side JavaScript, which is called as XSJS. So everything will be running on XS. So it is more powerful engine for calculation views and etc. Everything can be created on this XS. So if someone interested to explore on this more, then you can straight away go ahead to BTP and create your instance on HANA database. And from there, you can straight away enter into the development on this HANA. So there, these are the artifacts. If you like to follow something, I can share you the development URLs as well, which URLs needs to follow. You can proceed. So this is just wanted to tell you what kind of OData publications available in SAP products across. So one on SAP HANA runs on SAP HANA Access, Access A, and another one is developed or built using a web platform and registered in gateway. It could be embedded or in anything else, or the hub based one. So this is uh, just I wanted to present this scenario, and this is what we are more interested. Okay, so this will clear off many doubts running in our mind at the moment. So here, if you see, we have these many types of implementations, OData implementations. So we have started with code-based implementation. So they right here, if you see, so it's a code-based implementation, whereas we just build the logic using SEGW transaction code and we publish as OData service. So this like we are almost finished with this. Okay, except couple of concepts. But moving to the next one, referenced or mapped data source. So this one we are about to see this. Okay, so this is the one of the topic where depending on SEGW gateway services, we will see this. But here we will be having a need of creating some CDS views to make use of this referenced or mapped data sources. And without CDS also, we have some options available. We will see those reference or mapped data source way of data implementation. So in this way of development, if you see here, still we will be based on SGW and a new programming model, and the CDS views are based here. So though I mentioned there are other ways of referenced to referenced data sources, but going forward we must be using CDS views as a reference data sources in developing V2 data services. So that is what it just says in the backend, the DDIC tables, whatever. So it could be tables, or there are different ways of developing CDS views. So these CDS views can be built based on database tables, or uh, can be even based on classes and etc. We will discuss further how many ways of creating CDS views available in our system. And this is one thing, and the other one, this is a referenced data source but with transactional behaviors. So this one, the transactional behavior, so in this case, in the referenced one, so they are only read only, but so this transactional behavior is an extension, I would say. Okay, so why can't we call it as transaction? We can call it as transactional as well if we have transactional behaviors implemented into this way of OData development. But here we have transactional behavior as well. So in this transactional behavior, we will be having some additional BOPF coding involved when we deal with the transactional data. So the BOPF will be able to help us achieving the deep creation or individual creation or value helps or validation, whatever it is. So in all these ways, the BOPF is going to help us in this case. Okay, and the other way of the easiest way where we have is OData publish on CDS views. So in this way, in this way, if we say without BOPF, It's straightforward, a highly capable OData service in terms of reading and everything. But if you see here, we are not taking help of SGW in this case. If we use OData.publish, it's going to be an annotation which we will look in the CDS views when we enter into CDS views. So by doing this way, we are not going to take help of SGW. But if we have even in this OData.publish, this can be a transactional application as well. And but uh, we will be dealing always with one parent entity in this case. When we choose OData.publish true as a transactional application, so we will be dealing with one parent entity. But whereas if we use SEGW, then we can make transactional process available on multiple parent nodes. Okay, that is the only difference. But apart from this, we don't have any uh, differences between these two. So I will clearly tell you when we need SEGW, even if we are using CDS views as the referenced data sources, and when we use OData.publish true, okay, without going to SEGW. So this is the way forward for us. So in next slide, we even learn about this. If you see here, classic web programming. So this is what we were doing in the past. And ABAP platform right now we are on 770. That is greater than 7.5 itself. The programming ways of programming what we need to choose is very much clear on this slide. So here, if it is if we are familiar with the way of developing UIs or the programming reporting anything with ABAP programming model for Fiori, so we can choose this one. Okay, so in this case, we will be having SGW, which is again a referenced data sources. Yes, if we choose SGW, it shouldn't be a code-based implementation, but behind the scenes. So whatever we have learned so far, that is what is going to happen. Some exceptional cases, we might need to work on the DPC ext classes, whatever we have learned so far, on top of the reference data sources. I will take you through that, and also OData publish. So which will simplify our life, the development life, very easier. Okay, it's very simple way of developing or publishing OData service using a simple annotation. SAP has its um, background code generators or dynamic SADL generators. So in this slide, you might have seen this SADL couple of places. What this SADL? So it is the conversion or runtime generation. We call this as service adaptation definition language. So this service adaptation definition language is used by SAP to um, understand the annotations we maintain or mention in our CDS views, and that converts into the gateway language. Okay, so the gateway will be easily able to communicate on top of this SADL generation. So even in this case, if we use the OData.publish true, again SADL will take place based on this annotation. The single annotation, it makes our life so easier. Okay, so and here it's a VDM. It's nothing but it stands for virtual data model. So this virtual data model, there are types of virtual data models as well. We will see all these types wherever they need, and how they uh, mention, how they are going to be mentioned in our CDS views. Okay, so now the next Next evolution of this one is it's a SAP cloud platform. It's nothing but ABAP environment. This is where we just getting introduced to RAP. So ABAP RESTful application programming model. So these are the layers or evolution of SAP towards the intelligent programming models, or to make intelligent enterprise work in intelligent way. So here, if we see, we have the wrap way of working here. The business service is on top, and core data services and behavior definition implementations. So these are same parts of these programming models. And in place of core data services, even in ABAP programming model for Fiori, so we have core data services. There is no change in this one. And when we look at this CDS based BOPF, in this place, the whatever has been introduced here in RAP is behavior definition and implementation. So to achieve the transactional behaviors, we use BOPF in this way of programming model, but here we will be using behaviors and service definitions to define the transactional behaviors and controlling the transactional behavior. So here, so you see here these two ways of doing or choosing a programming model or safe investments for customer. But the backbone or behind the scenes, whatever happens is going to be our code-based implementation. We need to have an idea what's going on behind the scenes, and also it is not necessary that we always start working on these two programming models. Okay, so the customer may be for some reasons running behind the new technology, and still maybe based on this less than 7.5 versions. So whereas still SGW is supported and gateway where OData building is enabled. But going forward, these two ways of programming models are going to be important. So in this way, ABAP uh, programming model for SAP Fiori. So we have more control on V2 OData services, but coming to RAP, it is even more supported with V4 OData V4 capabilities. So there are differences between V2 and V4. We will see what those differences. V4 is having more advanced features from querying point of view itself. So these two slides I thought of covering you as we are about to enter into the Fiori development along with the CDS use creation and learning more further onto it. So these two are going to be base, and what we are doing and what way of development approach we are choosing, that is very much important, and that helps us understanding what layers are involved behind it, so that we can improve or implement it even better than we know. Okay, I think this is what, Hari, I think this answers your question, and it helps you more, right? Yep. Okay. So here we go. We will be learning the SAP UI5 architecture and basics, how the UI5 has been evolved, and what is the uh, design and what we need to know if we want to develop any UI5 screens. So these are the design principles for SAP UI5. So these design principles we might have heard many times since UI5 has been launched, but I'll repeat you again. So it's a role-based, adaptive, coherent, simple, and delightful. So the role-based is the name itself tells us. So everything, the control has been put on the role. Whatever the user is authorized to see, so that is only displayed on his launchpad. So it's the whatever, let's take not the launchpad, whatever the website or whatever the task we have been given, the web platform we have been assigned to. So if there are many things or not authorized or being displayed, then that doesn't make sense. So whenever a user clicks on something particular link on his workplace, so it's not a good idea to show not found or not authorized in separate one. To avoid that one, so it's a role based, whatever is applicable for this particular role of the user, so only those tasks or those pages displayed on the workplace of the particular user. And adaptive. So this adaptive is again so it's not device dependent. The UI5 is not device dependent. The application, whatever we build, can run on any device. So irrespective of the device, even um, uh, we have the latest technologies like Apple Watch or Samsung Watch smartwatches. So these UIs or notifications easily can be sent to those devices, and even those devices are more the UI on those devices as well is more adaptive. So it easily converts into that device and adjusts to the screen. It look very nice on the screens. So earlier we have an experience that in past the websites whatever we open, if we open on desktop, they display uh, very well. If we open on mobile phones, they display same as the website how we opened on desktop. So what makes is it makes the font smaller, or it enables more scrolling, and we wanted to do more, and it's not good user experience point of view. Okay, the experience was bit horrible, but with this way of UI5 implementation, UI5 development, and the screens are more adaptive. So even if you run your application on big screens like our televisions, whichever have 45 or 55 inches, even the UI will be more adaptive to those screens. The elements on the UI will be automatically adjusted, and even size and width, everything will be auto adjusted according to the screen width and height of the screen. And it's a coherent design, whatever the applications are being deployed. So what it means, the theming of the UI5 applications across the organization will remain same. So there will not be any a fancy designing or a glittering or sparkling kind of thing. There will not be any such uh, functionalities on this design, the Fiori design, but instead it's a completely an enterprise grade design applied across all the organization and all the applications whatever deployed to the organization. And it'll be a simple, so there's a simple, we just show what is necessary to the user. So this is similarly linked to this role-based restricts whatever the user can see, but simple, it will not um, um, make the functionality complex. It's a more towards to the functionality of the applications. We can even uh, break a complex application into simple applications, and we can deploy the onto the launchpad or whatever. And it's a just principle has been introduced. So saying, so this UI5 is a kind of emotional connection, builds an emotional connection with the user to that UI. Okay, and moving to next. So this is what the Fiori clients and integration. So these clients, in terms of OData connectivity, we have seen them, how they work, how they integrate with OData. But in terms of Fiori clients and their integration, how we should read it is, so these are the Fiori clients and SAP Fiori integration. So all these browsers, so these browsers are the clients where they open the launchpad. Okay. So a launchpad URL, a launchpad service can be opened on any of the browser. So that's going to be the client for Fiori application. So if we enter into the launchpad, that is where we deploy all our Fiori applications. And so this is what we will be working at the moment. And web browser, we will have full control on launchpad service. So we will deploy our own Fiori application, and also we will deploy it onto launchpad, and we will be using launchpad, and we will use our application using launchpad on browser. And SAP Business Client, it was the previous one, still customers using the SAP Business Client. So this SAP Business Client is used whoever the customers have SAP Enterprise Portal. So this Enterprise Portal can be integrated, or SAP Business Client is the consumer for this SAP Enterprise Portal. And next, SAP Mobile Start. So this is to utilize the SAP mobile services. So if we create any mobile application in our organization or at our customer place, the client or consumer integration to the user is going to be SAP Mobile Start. So this SAP Mobile Start, you can straight away go to Play Store or iOS App Store. You can search for this SAP Mobile Start. You can install it. So there will be authentication mechanisms. So those authentication mechanisms will be given by the organization, so that whatever the applications you are authorized, you will be able to see these mobile applications in your mobile start client. Okay, and okay, so we are, what are the tools to build SAP Fiori applications, SAP UI5 applications? So these are all the tools and their arrangement between between the application types or the servers, the backends, etc. If you see here, we have on top the consumer web browser. So in this in this web browser and SAP business client, and underneath it SAP logon. So these are the arrangements, but they are all on the same layer. So in the next layer, we have SAP screen personas, ABAP workbench, and SAP business application studio. Okay, so if you see here SAP business application studio, so this and SAP business application studio is used to build SAP UI5 applications. So where they're all intact, they will be deployed onto SAP Gateway. The applications deployment will be on SAP Gateway. And if you see here, ABAP Workbench and Screen Personas are used to customize or even develop WebDriver applications and classic screens. So classic screens, in this case, I would refer to a SE38 program or a GUI transaction code. So these GUI transaction codes will be developed. We know that ABAP Workbench, and this the new terminology. What we see here is a screen personas. So this screen personas is the concept where we can personalize or customize the screens of existing applications. So for example, if you take MM02 transaction code, where or MM03 transaction code, where we just display the material, that is the transaction code to display this material, or even we can take VA03 transaction code, whereas we have only sales order number on first screen, and in the next screen we have to press execute to move to the next screen. But using SAP screen personas, we can automate or we can enable both informations on the same screen itself. So have we can have the sales order number input field just the beginning of the screen, and just underneath it we can have the next screen available on this one. So whenever we enter sales order number, is just displayed under that one. So we can personalize or customize the existing screens using SAP screen personas. So whatever we create there, they are called flavors. So we will be creating flavors. So using those flavors, each flavor, even we have an option to write some of the JavaScript into those flavors if we want to validate something, or if we want to convert something, if we are typing on lowercase and if we want to convert automatically to uppercase or something, we have feasibility to implement some JavaScript as well when we work on these SAP screen personas. So these screen personas reduce the time of development. So for example, if the customer wants to use this classic screen, one of the existing transaction code, but not happy with the fields arrangement, or not happy with the number of blacks are displayed. So in that case, this ABAP SAP screen personas will help hiding the unnecessary tabs or unnecessary fields, unnecessary information. We can simplify the screen, and we can straight away integrate into the launchpad or whatever the SAP business client or whatever. So, and meantime, the parallel approach, parallelly the SAP UI5 application can be built based on the required fields and using the better or best user experience principles. Okay, in that way, the SAP screen personas is very much recommended there. So for this one, is it completely recommended or something? It is recommended approach, still the customer can make use of the existing transaction code if they are happy. So if they are happy with the persona, whatever they have created, they can continue using the transaction code as a tile on their launchpad. So there is no issue. So again, if they have existing WebDemp application, or if they want to build a new WebDemp application, still that is open. We have this option also available, and they can integrate to SAP Business Client or Launchpad using this one. Okay, and the final one we have here is UI theme designer. So we have UI theme designer available across all the products. So we can design our themes, like what kind of button, what would be the color of the button if there is a button on screen, or what is the logo of the organization and where the logo needs to be present and things like that. The customer can use this UI theme designer provided by SAP to customize all their themes. So these themes can be made available public, or they can be restricted to some of the user groups as well. Okay, so moving next, the UX technologies here. So all these technologies, whatever we see here, so we see the web technology, web applications. When we say web applications, native mobile applications, and conversational applications. So these are more automated and intelligent applications. So these technologies, every technology, whatever we see here, they all part of SAP right now. So whatever we see here, whatever the approach, whatever the kind of application customer needs, so they can go ahead and build their own application on their BTP environment make using of these technologies. So we just need to choose what kind of application the customer intending to build. That is the that's the only that is the only thing the customer needs to do. So here, so this most of the customers or most of the solution architects or someone needs to know about this one. So earlier, the traditional SAP, so this is the lagging place where SAP had. So SAP, there was no place, or there was no technology to build a better UI in SAP itself. And also SAP infrastructure was not supporting, but in these days, the way SAP is evolving according to the other open source technologies, it's really appreciable, and it's really great. So if you see here, web, we are saying here HTML5. So we will not be learning any HTML5. It's just we are knowing what kind of technology this our SAP UI5 is using. So this HTML5 has the behavior, the adaptive behavior, whatever we have seen. This HTML5 gives that flexibility whenever we are running any application, web application on any device. The HTML will automatically adapts that UI and converts the entire UI in according to that device screen and width and height. Okay, SCP has adopted same principles HTML5. That is where the UI5 has come up from. So as it uses HTML5 capabilities, SAP has uh, combined many other things into their SAP product, and they named it as SAP UI5. And the development tool for developing this kind of web applications is going to be SAP Business Application Studio. So this is where we just develop all our web applications. So if you ask me if this is the only one, this is the only usage of SAP Business Application Studio. The answer is no. As we are talking about web applications here, we are just talking about mentioning SAP Web Application Studio. So SAP Business Application Studio is capable of developing database artifacts, CDS modeling, um, the analytics and cap cap and cap applications, everything. It has a lot of capabilities, but this is one of them. Okay, so now moving to native applications. So these native applications, these native applications are completely a mobile applications where they will be using a in some cases these native applications will be using or built in the framework that serverless architecture, so which we have seen. So there will be no server. The scripting, whatever these applications uses, those scripts will directly communicate with the DB and directly will be running on the DB itself. So there will be no server to process these requests like a gateway. We will not be having anything here. So these native mobile applications, it could be a iOS application or Android application. So if it is an iOS application, the language is used is Swift. Swift. If you look at swift.org, so that is where the language or syntaxing, whatever has been published there. So this is the developing language used to build Apple iOS applications. And Android applications, it's a Java. Java will be Java and Android development kit or something. And Apple Xcode is the tool where it is used to build iOS applications, but this is not the only one. SAP has its own um, uh, iOS development kit available on SAP tooling kit, and that can be used or imported into SAP Business Application Studio, and from here again this can be developed further. And same thing for building Android applications as well. So here again, native mobile development kit for Android. So that is the component available, and that can be referred on the BTP as a reference, and from there the app development can be uh, carried out. And apart from that, these two are the official tools to build iOS or Android applications. So SAP is even supporting the development features for these two tools as well, Apple Xcode and Android Studio. And coming to the conversational, so the conversational we have SAP CAI, so conversational artificial intelligence, and this CAI has been built based on the skills. So whatever the skills that the bot has been trained up, based on that, this conversational uh, the app conversational technology will work on. And the tool is available on SAP BTP is Bot Builder. So we will create a project or we create a bot in our conversational artificial intelligence in the bot builder, and in the bot we just add skills into the bot, and these skills are nothing but training the conversational bot. So bot, we just refer to robot. So this robot will, whatever the user or client communicates with it, it just comes back to its skills, and it looks into its skill base. The skill base will be maintained, like if this is the request, what the response should be. So that's how these skills are placed inside this conversational artificial intelligence. the robot. This is basically a conversation. If I type hi, it will come back to the skill and find what should I say for that hi. So if it is in English, or it can be trained in multiple languages as well. So if I say hola, and it searches for hola keyword in here, and it sends the response back. So hola, okay, hola. Hi, I'm good. What you do? So these are all the part of skills training. So skills based. So these skills, there is no language development language like Java, Swift, or HTML5, JavaScript like that. So these skills are in plain English or whatever the language we choose. So they are guided guided development steps. The preparation steps, we just go ahead and build them. And the place where we build is what builder on service available on BTP. Okay, so on this single side, we have more information available here. So
Changan,
yes,
a Java developer can also work on Business Application Studio
yes, of course,
to develop EFI applications.
of course.
Okay.
So
Because
yes,
yeah, as you told, like there are many capabilities.
Exactly.
Vast, right?
Exactly,
So even there is a provision for Java developers.
exactly, yes. So it's a open source. If you correlate, if you already heard about the Visual Studio Code, so that is again a development tool, open source development tool. And the SAP Business Application Studio has been built upon considering the VS Code itself. So even VS Code is an uh, offline development platform. If you are not using SAP Business Application Studio service on BTP, you can make use of VS Code, Visual Studio Code, on your local machine by installing some extensions, the required extensions. Or if you have already VS Code on your desktop, you can try looking for the extensions, SAP Fiori tools. So if you install them, then it's pretty much you can start working from on your local desktop itself. Okay, so this is so VS Code is as I said, open source. The .NET or C Sharp or whatever, C++, Java, anything can be developed on VS Code. The same is applicable, same principles applicable for SAP Business Application Studio as well. Okay, lot of capabilities.
So when it comes to the freestyle applications, then only the more involvement of the Java developer here in
Exactly.
business application, right?
Yes. So I wouldn't say more freestyle applications. Rather saying that, I would say native applications. So when the customer needs native application development, so these iOS or Android applications, they can be developed. At the same time, we have CAPM model, cloud application programming. So that is where a real major language developer can enter and develop the applications. So that is where we need uh, the extra skilled person than SAP skilled person. Okay, the CAP cloud application programming model effectively needs Node.js. Okay, whereas the Node.js is completely different skill for all our SAP skill set programmers or developers available. Okay, but what we can try is this conversational. So this is pretty much a simpler one. And if at all we need, there may be a little bit of JavaScript, but apart from that, everything will be graphical. So this conversational, if as you have already the BTP trial account, if you want to try it, you can go ahead and look for conversational. Uh, AI, and you can straight away create project, and you can deploy it to your Telegram application. Telegram is free. Okay, so you can deploy your chatbot to Telegram, and you can chat using your Telegram as well. So if you search as soon as you deploy onto your Telegram, it will be straight away available on your Telegram. You can start typing with your Telegram, and you can give that to any other person as well, and they also can start interacting with your bot. Okay, and SMS service, and there are few additional things, but they involve some costs. Uh, Apart from that, we can use Telegram as a deployment platform for our trial users. Okay, so now moving forward, so the MVC architecture of SAP UI5. So we have now an idea and what are the tools available to build applications, UI5 applications, and what kinds of applications we will be building, and what kind of tool we need to choose according to our type of application we decide to build, right? So now, as we are running into our SAP UI5 applications, we are learning what is the architecture of UI5, SAP UI5. And before coming here to SAP UI5, and there is another term used, Open UI5. So if you have come across Open UI5, so what is difference between SAP UI5 and Open UI5? So anybody have an idea how we can differentiate it? Okay, so the Open UI5, what SAP has thought is, as SAP entering into all these open source technologies to sustain or coming to the uh, latest technologies and leverage their way of programming or technologies according to the market or industry standards right now. So this Open UI5 and SAP UI5 are together came into the market, and Open UI5, anybody, even any other language like uh, Angular or React or Ruby on Rails, whoever wants to uh, have the design guidelines like the UI5, they do not necessarily have the SAP product on their customer place. Okay, they do not really need to have S4HANA. They do not really need to have SAP system at all in their landscape. They also can use UI5 capabilities and UI5 controls, and they can build their own UI5 applications. So for that, they need to have some libraries available on internet. So referring to those libraries, the customer or whoever wants to build a UI5 standards application, they can um, make use of those libraries, and they can build their own applications, web applications. So to bring that idea to live, SAP has named it as Open UI5. The Open UI5 have its own libraries and components available, and whoever interested to build Open UI5 applications, they can straight away go ahead to Open UI5 and take help, and they can start building UI5 applications, Open UI5 applications. But SAP UI5 is the deployment platforms or the major difference for SAP UI5 and Open UI5 applications. So SAP UI5 applications right now we are saying wrap. or Fiori elements. So RAP or Fiori elements, they are completely built upon the SAP products. The backend OData services, whatever have been built, they are SAP based, right? So in this case, we are writing annotations on CDS views. That means the SAP UI5 framework, wherever we deploy, so that matters to understand these annotations. So only SAP UI5 applications can understand these annotations, Fiori elements or RAP-based applications. So that is the reason SAP has separated them. So OpenUI5 doesn't support all these capabilities. Fiori elements or RAP capabilities are not supported by OpenUI5. But apart from that, rest all the capabilities, whatever the UI5 has, SAP UI5 has, OpenUI5 is also having same capabilities. But our scope is SAP UI5. We will be going and developing SAP UI5 applications. So the architecture point of view, both of them, both SAP UI5 and OpenUI5 have built adopting to the MVC architecture, which is model view controller architecture. We are very much familiar with this MVC architecture quite a long time. So even this architecture has been in all the other technologies, Java or .NET or whatever the technology we take. This MVC architecture is available in the industry since long time. So even we have this MVC architecture built or implemented in WebRain Pro technologies, WebRain Pro applications. So the same principles have been brought into the UI5 architecture as well. So what it means here, MVC architecture. Though the architecture, we are familiar with the architecture, we should be knowing what what comes under models and what comes under controllers and what comes what comes under views. So here in SAP UI5 or OpenUI5 both, the models are JSON model. We have JSON models, XML models, and OData models. So they tightly integrated with backends. Whatever the operation or whatever the change happened on the view, if you see here, the user interaction is happening in the view itself, and whatever the whatever the interaction has happened, that interaction will be conveyed to the controller, and the controller will be sending the updates to model, and the model will take care of pushing things to the backends. Okay, so here we will be having client side model and server side models, both. So JSON and XML models are purely client side models, but OData model, it can be used as client side model and also a server side model. So this OData, if we make it as two-way, there are types of communications. We will see them later. That's fine. So OData can be acted as both client side and server side model. But JSON and XML, they are purely client side models. We will see what is client. In our case, when we refer to client it's a browser. So these models will be created and alive as temporary at client side, at the browser side only. Once we close it, they are vanished. But this OData model, the data only vanishes, but this OData model, OData still exists in our backend on the server. So if there is any change change in the data, it notifies to the controller, and the controller will update the information to the view. So there will be no communication between the view and model. So this is what the MVC architecture defines always. And these controllers, they are the JavaScript files in our UI5 terminology. The JavaScript files plays the role of controllers here. And views, here we have XML views, JSON views, and JS views as well. But the recommended views are XML views. The XML views will play the role of layout here, the view user interaction. So this is what overall MVC architecture for our UI5 applications. So now based on this, we will be working on Web IDE, and hence we will understand what is controller, what is model, and what is view as well. We have very separated directory or directory tree structure in our project once we create it. So though we have already created a project, but we didn't know what is covering what and what is doing what. But after this, we will be having some basic understanding. Okay, so this is the following more MVC architecture, and this comes under view, and this comes under model, and this is the controller which we need to consider like that. Okay, and this is again okay. Now we know the architecture of UI5 applications. It follows MVC architecture. That's fine. So are there any types of applications I can create using MVC architecture, or in the entire UI5 landscape? Do I have any types of applications? Yes, we have these kinds of application. So one is transactional application, analytical application, and fact sheet applications. So these analytical applications and fact sheet applications, they are completely based on SAP HANA. Only SAP HANA supports as a database, but for analytical and fact sheets, no other database supports according to the SAP architecture. But for transactional applications, so any database can be in the backend. So these transactional applications can be built on top of them. And here, if you see the all UI5 applications, part of all kinds of application, and Fiori elements applications, also part of all three types of applications. But here we have the floor plans. So these floor plans, we will see what kinds of floor plans we will be having in SAP Fiori elements. So here overview page is supported in all the types of applications. And here we have SAP Fiori elements. Under Fiori elements in transactional applications, list report template is supported, work list is supported. And here in analytical list page, what kinds of templates or floor plan we need to choose. Based on the application type, we will choose these floor plans, analytical list page. And fact sheet point of view, we will choose object page floor plan for fact sheet way of development. And each floor plan has its own structure and own page layouts and features. We will be learning about them in coming future sessions. And classic applications can be built as transactional applications on these DBs. So they are web client UIs, for example, CRM UIs, and WebRentro applications, and ABAP transactions. And for BW support here, analytical, we know that. So it's a BW systems will involve in this place. So analytics cloud, Design Studio, Web and Pro applications. So they all need SAP HANA as a backend database. Okay. So I think mostly we will be covering all these kinds of applications: overview page, analytical page, list report, and we try to create all types of applications, at least a simple application or whatever. We try to understand in the layouting point of view how they work, and these each and every section, again, they are not going to be a code based on the UI side. Whenever we say SAP Fiori elements, they are completely annotations based. So we need some data, that's it. Based on data, we just mention, write some annotations on either on CDS or local annotations to the application. Based on that, they start working as expected. Okay, we will see that. That's fine. And Fiori system landscape, okay, that's fine. Now we have understood the front end side of it and choosing the application types and the architecture of it. But what is its backend? The landscape, how it is arranged in terms of a backend, front end server, and DB point of view, etc. So this one we have already seen in terms of the OData, wherever it needs a web dispatcher for security tunnel for OData establishment. So this OData and HTTP request web dispatcher, we will not be able to experience this web dispatcher, unfortunately. So this web dispatcher will be an additional component for security firewalls, like a cloud connector, whatever we have discussed. So if you have cloud connector, this web dispatcher will come into picture for security reasons. So without a web dispatcher, we will create applications using destination services on BTP. But FLP point of view, these are all the application types, whatever can be integrated onto the Launchpad, Fiori Launchpad. And Fiori Launchpad will use SAP Web Dispatcher. If you see here, this is mentioned optional. So we can even have Fiori Launchpad without web Dispatcher. That means there will be no proxy. If there is no Web Dispatcher, there will be no proxy. That is how we should see it. And directly it comes to the SAP Gateway Hub. So this is the hub system, Gateway Hub system, whereas front-end server. And underneath it, there will be backend systems, and the next layer, database. So if you see here, if we have S4 HANA system, for all the S4 HANA system subscriptions, there will be inbuilt gateway here in the S4 system itself. Okay, so there will be, if we register the application here in SAP Gateway, that's fine. So again, as the Fiori Launchpad has not built on this Launchpad, so it has to go to the gateway server. Gateway, again, we need to register the OData service, and from there, the communication will happen. So in terms of UI5 application deployment, we just deploy onto this gateway server, and the application stays there. And whenever the user logs into Launchpad, the application will fetch from gateway itself. So this is hub-based environment if we have, and the next one is embedded environment. So embedded, if you see this layer, whatever we see here, this hub gateway is no more in the embedded environment. So it's just straight usage of the gateway came along with S4HANA system. So if you see here, let's say it's same. The accept the same layer, it's straight away using this gateway component came along with S4HANA system. So it's pretty simple, and it's same. We don't need to uh, explain it more in this slide. So here it's a small one in A. So it's a information applications. So these information applications, they are analytical applications, information analysis applications. So they are straight uh, on the web dispatcher and straight come to enterprise search applications. Yep. Yes. Asking any question? Okay. So now, as I mentioned, the Fiori elements application. So this Fiori elements application, we have SAP Fiori elements, whereas we'll have some configurations and annotations files. So we will see this later stage. I do not want to continue further onto it, and I do not want to increase load in your mind. So this is just about the Fiori introduction. So we have 5 principles. They are role-based, adaptive, coherent, simple, delightful, and what client integrates with what. So that is what we just need to focus here. So the Launchpad, always it's a web browser, and the enterprise portal is going to be SAP Business Client, and mobile application, SAP Mobile Start. So this is what we need to know here. Earlier, there was something else, SAP Mobile 1 or something, but that has been replaced with SAP Mobile Start now. So now everything is being used SAP Mobile Start as a Fiori client for all mobile applications. And this one, tooling point of view, which tool we need for developing all these applications. Here we are just saying about only SAP UI5, but whereas in this case, we are just even going further and extending the same and knowing further about web applications, native applications, and conversational applications, and respective tools to build these applications. And again, for MVC architecture and what kinds of application types we have, and what kinds of databases they support, etc. And this is just backend landscape, system landscape of Fiori environment. What all we need to have and how they work in terms of hub environment and embedded environment. Okay, so it's just a introduction to the Fiori backend thing of it. Now, let me go back to the system. I just want to tell you something about the systems startup. To use the Web IDE system. Come on, where is it? Let me share my screen. Okay, I hope you can see my screen. Yes, sir. Yep. So I right now we all know how we need to launch the Web IDE. So there is a file Web IDE URL on each of us each of our desktop. So we just open it, and even if you feel to make a bookmark, you can make it as a bookmark on Chrome. Whereas I did it. So on my on my browser, I have it as a bookmark. If I click on it, so it's not going to work at the moment. So this is a collective task which we need to do to practice ourselves. So we do not want to end up in this situation and asking for my help or admin's help. So I made it pretty simpler. So whoever logs into the system and they experience the Web IDE is not loading, so they do it as a first task. So if you decide to use Web IDE, just go ahead and check for it first. This is going to be our first step. If you see the Web IDE is not working, then you open your Explorer and go to local disk here and users. In the users, you look for public user. So public, once you enter into public, so you go into public documents. So here you see web IDE folder here. So you double click on it, and in the web IDE folder you see Orion file here. You just run your Orion file and keep it open. Don't close it. Just minimize it. So that is what the collective task which we need to do. So if you go back to your browser and refresh it, the web IDE starts working. So for some reason, unfortunately, after starting, you just close it. Again, the Orion will not be running, and again we will be ending up with the same issue. So this public user and public documents is open for everybody, and anyone whoever wants to use it, just go there and start this Orion server, its application, and minimize it. Don't close it. So then come to web IDE. As I mentioned, so if you are first time user, you need to create a new user using this one. And if you are already existing, you can go ahead and log in here. So this is for login, and this is for create new user. And we will, uh, I will take you through the project what we have created already, or we can even create a new project, and I'll explain you the structure, and I will try to make you understand how the project UFI project is satisfying or meeting to MVC architecture. Okay, so I think I would like to stop here. I will leave some time for you to go through if we have struck someone struck somewhere already. So I'll try to resolve it for today. Thank you for joining today.
Yeah, thanks, Shankar. Thank you. Yeah, thanks.